The night he proposed, the world felt like it was holding its breath. The wind outside the old clifftop lodge had gone strangely still. The ocean below, eerily quiet, as if even the waves wanted to hear her answer. Evan knelt in the glow of a dying fireplace, the ring trembling between his fingers. "Lena, will you marry me?" His voice cracked in a way he couldn't hide, a shimmer of fear mixed with devotion. She stood before him, barefoot on the wooden floor, her black hair loose and shining like midnight water, her eyes wide with something he couldn't read. She wasn't a woman easily shaken. She'd survived a childhood that would have folded anyone else. But at that moment, she looked shaken, deeply, as if accepting this ring meant accepting a fate she'd been running from all her life. "Evan," she whispered, looking down at the ring like it was glowing red hot. "You don't know what you're asking." "I'm asking you to be mine," he said. "I'm asking to be yours." Lightning flashed outside, lighting her face pale. She stepped closer, her breath warming his cheeks. Then, to his relief, she nodded. Slow, trembling. "Yes," she whispered. "I'll marry you." His heart burst into fireworks. He rose to his feet, crushed her into a kiss, laughing against her lips. She kissed him back, but not with the joy he expected. Her hands were tight around his shirt, clinging like she feared letting go. She kept glancing toward the window, toward the woods, toward the dark. "Are you okay?" he whispered against her hair. She swallowed. "I will be." It was the way she said it, like a promise. She wasn't sure she could keep that. Made something cold coil in his stomach. But he didn't push. Not then. Not when she finally slipped the diamond onto her finger, its reflection trembling on her skin. Not when she forced a soft laugh and told him she needed a moment alone. Not even when she walked slowly toward the back door, her shoulders tense like someone leaving safety behind. "I'll be right back," she said. A lie, though he didn't know it then. Because by morning, she would be gone. Completely. Without a trace. But that night, Evan only saw the woman he loved step outside into the fog-thick darkness. Her silhouette swallowed instantly by the shadows. He waited. 5 minutes. 10. 20. She didn't return. The storm picked up outside, thunder rolling low above the cliffs. He paced the lodge, telling himself she just needed air, maybe space to process the proposal. But something dug its nails into him. Intuition, primal and sharp, that something was wrong, terribly wrong. When he finally stepped outside to find her, the fog was so dense he could barely see the porch. The forest whispered with movement, branches shifting, leaves rustling, as if someone or something had just passed through. "Lena," he called. No answer. "Lena, this isn't funny." Only the ocean answered, waves crashing against the rocks below. On the third day, police interest shifted more aggressively toward Evan. Investigators questioned his neighbors, searched the lodge, confiscated his phone, and when they found the ring box with her fingerprints on it, but no sign she ever removed the ring after, they began piecing together a narrative he didn't like. "Your story isn't adding up," the detective said one night, leaning across the interrogation table. "Couples fight. Things get physical. You propose. She rejects you. You snap." "No." Evan snapped back. "She said yes." "Convenient. You can check. There was a camera in the living room for insurance. It records motion." "We did," the detective said, his voice turning cold. "It shows no proposal, no conversation, nothing." Evan's blood chilled. "What?" "The footage from last night stops at 9:37 p.m. It freezes. Just a still frame. There's no video of her leaving. No audio. Nothing." "That's impossible." The camera was on. The light was blinking. It wasn't recording. It wasn't. His head spun. Had the camera malfunctioned? Had someone tampered with it? Or more terrifying, had Lena done something to hide herself? Had she known they were being watched? That night, Evan returned to the lodge alone. Police tape rustled on the porch. The ocean roared louder than usual. Inside, everything was how he left it except for one thing. The ring? The diamond ring he'd given her. It lay on the floor in front of the bedroom door, but not where someone would casually drop it. It was placed deliberately, dead center, and underneath it, written in dust, thin as a fingertip, "Don't look for me." Evan staggered back, goosebumps exploding across his arms. She wrote that she had to have, but when, how, and why? His heart hammered as he looked around the room, suddenly feeling eyes on him, watching, waiting. He grabbed the ring in a suitcase and left the lodge before the sun was up. He drove to their apartment in the city, desperate to find anything she left behind, anything that explained who she was running from, or what. The apartment was neat, organized, smelling faintly of her perfume. For a moment, he almost believed she'd walk out of the bathroom in one of his oversized shirts, smiling at him like nothing happened. But the silence in the apartment felt wrong. Heavy. He went through her drawers, her closet, her suitcase. Nothing unusual. Until he opened the small wooden chest she kept hidden beneath the bed. Inside were documents. IDs, passports. Not one. Not two. 7. All with her face. All with different names. Different countries. Different ages. His stomach turned. He dug deeper. Burner phones. SIM cards. Foreign currency. And a worn notebook filled with cryptic notes. Dates. Locations. Strange symbols. And one sentence repeated over and over. They are getting closer. His hands shook. The woman he loved wasn't just keeping secrets. She was living a double life. Or escaping from one. The last page of the notebook had fresh ink, smudged as if she wrote it quickly. Or while crying. It read, "If something happens, it wasn't him. And if I disappear, don't trust the police. Don't trust anyone. And above 11, if you love me, don't find me." Evan's vision blurred. He slid down the wall, notebook clutched in his hands, heartbreaking and burning at the same time. She didn't leave because she didn't love him. She left because she feared something, someone, and she'd rather vanish forever than let it reach him. But Evan wasn't letting her go. Not for a warning. Not for fear. Not for anything. He wiped his face, shoved the notebook into his jacket, and stood. "I'm going to find you," he whispered. "I don't care what's chasing you." But deep in his bones, he felt it whatever was chasing her might already be chasing him too, and it was closer than he thought. Evan barely slept that night, the notebook open beside him on the bed like a ticking bomb. Every scribble, every symbol, every frantic line Lena had written, felt like a breadcrumb she'd left behind not to lead him to her, but to keep him away. But that had never been an option, not for him. When dawn crept through the blinds, pale and cold, he took the notebook and drove to the only person he knew who could make sense of something like this. His older brother, Mark. A cybersecurity analyst who'd spent years picking apart digital ghosts for clients who didn't want to be found. Mark opened the door wearing sweatpants and suspicion. "You look like hell," he said. "Something happened. Lena's missing," Evan said. He watched Mark's expression shift, first confusion, then concern, then the sharp calculation he was known for. "Come in." Evan laid everything on the table. The 7 passports, the burner phones, the notebook, the message in dust, the footprints that stopped in the woods. Mark didn't interrupt, not once. When Evan finished, Mark leaned back, exhaling slowly. "Okay," he said. "This isn't normal. This is professional." "Professional like what?" Evan asked. "Professional like someone who's either fleeing a highly trained enemy or involved in something she didn't tell you about." "She wouldn't, you don't know that," Mark said gently. "People hide things to protect the ones they love. That doesn't make them bad." Evan swallowed hard. "So what do we do?" Mark picked up one of the passports, flipping through it. "We find out who she really is." Evan felt guilt punch him in the chest. Should he be digging into a past she fought to leave behind? But then he remembered her message. If something happens, it wasn't him. Don't trust the police. Don't trust anyone. She told him not to find her, but she also seemed to know what would happen if he didn't. Mark sifted through the burner phones, examining them under a UV light. Most haven't been used in years, except this one. He held up a black phone with a cracked corner. "Last call was last night." Evan blinked. "Last night? Who called?" Mark smirked. "That's what we're about to find out." He connected the phone to his laptop, loaded with encryption tools. Within minutes, the screen filled with data. Unregistered SIM. Scrambled numbers. Rerouted connections. "This isn't amateur stuff," Mark muttered. "This is someone who knows exactly how to hide a trail." Meaning the person who called her last night didn't want to be tracked. And whoever they are, they're good. Evan felt his stomach drop. "Check her notebook. There are dates." Mark opened the pages, stopping at repeated scribbles. One date circled 3 times. Yesterday, the same day she vanished. Next to it, 2 letters, LC. "What does that mean?" Evan asked. "No idea," Mark said. "But this symbol," he tapped the page. "I've seen it before." Evan leaned closer. It looked simple at first. Glance, a circle with 3 slashed lines through it. But the more he stared, the more ominous it felt. "Where have you seen it?" Evan asked. "On the darknet," Mark said quietly. "On forums used by people who want to disappear. Or people who want others to disappear." A cold wave rushed through Evan. I'm not saying anything yet," Mark cut in. "But this symbol, this group, they're not the kind you want to stumble into." Evan clenched his jaw. "I don't care what they are. You should. She's my fiancé." I'm not walking away. Mark stared at him, then nodded. Okay. Then we do this smart. He pulled up the phone's last tower ping. The call she got last night came from a location 2 miles from your lodge. Evan froze. That's the woods. Yep. So whoever called her was nearby. Close enough to be watching, Mark said. Evan grabbed his jacket. We're going back. You're coming with me, Evan said. I'm not doing this alone. Mark groaned. Fine. But if we die, I'm haunting you. They drove back to the coast. The road wound through dense trees that felt more sinister now. The fog returned thick, suffocating, intentional. This place feels wrong, Mark muttered. Always has, Evan said. They walked into the woods, following the trail Evan had taken the night she vanished. The air was unnaturally still. Even the birds were silent. Stop, Mark whispered. Evan froze. Mark knelt, brushing the dirt. There, a footprint, not Lena's, a heavy boot print, leading deeper. They followed the tracks until they reached a clearing Evan had never seen before. In the center stood a rusted metal door half buried in the ground, like the entrance to an old bunker or storm shelter. No way she came here alone, Mark whispered. Looks abandoned, Evan said. Mark glared. Yeah, because nothing bad ever hides under a metal door in the woods. But Evan was already pulling it open. The hinges screeched like an animal. A staircase descended into darkness. A flickering light glowed far below. If we die, I'm blaming your love life, Mark said. Evan exhaled shakily. She was here. I can feel it. They stepped inside. The air was cold, metallic, smelling of old machinery and damp stone. The bunker was larger than expected, several rooms connected by narrow hallways lit by buzzing fluorescent lights. Then they heard it. A voice. Not words, just a hum. A low, vibrating hum that crawled under their skin. What the hell is that? Mark whispered. Evan didn't answer. He followed the sound to a room at the end of the hallway. The door was slightly open. He pushed it gently and froze. The room was empty except for a table in the center. On it, Lena's necklace, the silver one she never took off. The one he'd given her on their first anniversary. He grabbed it with trembling fingers. It was warm. Like she'd been wearing it minutes ago. Then the hum stopped. Mark stiffened. Evan. Look. Evan turned. A camera in the corner of the ceiling had shifted, motorized, tracking them, watching, and then a speaker crackled. You shouldn't have come here. Evan's blood ran cold. He knew that voice, thin, trembling, breaking. Lena. He lunged toward the speaker. Lena, where are you? What's happening? You need to leave, her voice whispered, strained and distant. You're not safe. Where are you? Tell me. Evan. Her voice cracked into a sob. They found me. They're coming for you next. Before Evan could respond, a new voice replaced hers. Calm, male. Cold enough to freeze bone. Mr. Carter. We've been expecting you. Mark paled. We need to go now. Evan turned to run, but the lights went out. Every bulb, every hum. Darkness swallowed them whole. Move. Mark dragged him blindly through the hallway, groping along the walls until they reached the stairs. Behind them, footsteps echoed. Slow, deliberate. Not one person, several. The kind of footsteps that didn't rush because they didn't have to. They reached the surface and burst into the fog-choked forest. A shadow moved behind a tree, then another, and another. To the car, Mark shouted. They sprinted, lungs burning, branches whipping against them. Evan could hear voices distorted, almost mechanical calling commands he didn't understand. When they reached the car, Mark slammed the door and locked it. Before Evan could start the engine, a hand slapped against his window. A pale face leaned close, eyes dead, unblinking, watching. Then the figure stepped back into the fog. Drive, Mark whispered. Evan tore down the road until the lodge vanished behind them. They didn't stop until they reached the city. Only then did they breathe again. What the hell was that? Mark muttered. Who are these people? Evan didn't answer. He stared at the necklace in his hand, heart shattering and burning at the same time. They have her, he whispered. And they think I know something. About what? About who she really is. For the next 2 days, Evan didn't go home. He didn't go to work. He didn't sleep. He and Mark dug through every symbol, every phone log, every fake identity until finally, a breakthrough came. One of Lena's identities matched an old classified file. A government file. British intelligence. She wasn't running from criminals, Mark whispered. She was running from an operation she didn't want to be part of. An agent? Evan breathed. She was an agent. More than that, Mark muttered. This division, this symbol, it's off the books. Black operations. People who don't exist. Evan swallowed hard. And they want her back, or silenced, Mark said. And they'll go through you to find her. Evan clenched his fists. Then we find them first. Evan, no. I'm done letting them control this. He grabbed the notebook and the necklace. He walked toward the door. I'm going to get her back. No matter what I have to do. Mark stared at him, then nodded with a resigned sigh. Then I guess we're doing this together. The storm outside rattled the windows. The world felt like it was holding its breath again. Except this time, he wasn't proposing. He was declaring war. And somewhere, wherever she was, Lena felt it. Because late that night, as Evan and Mark prepared to track the operation that took her, Evan's phone buzzed. Unknown number. One message. 4 words. From her, don't trust your brother.